to the channel. Today, I'm gonna be sharing with you my family's favorite sugar cookie. Now, these sugar cookies are not traditional, but yet still give you that same yummy sugar cookie taste. And these are so perfect for your next gathering and hey, just to have some cookies around the house. And if you've got some cookie monsters like you do at my house, you are gonna love this recipe. So, if you're ready, let's go. I have a bowl right here, and what we're gonna do is go ahead and sift all of the flour. Now, of course, I'm gonna leave all of the ingredients down below. So we got a little over 4 cups of flour, and we're gonna go ahead and sift all of this through. Now what this does, it helps remove all of the clumps that might be in your flour, and we're gonna make it nice and fine. I'm using a little scooper right here because I know myself and it'll probably go everywhere if I try to just pour that in directly. So definitely gonna be on the safe side here and just getting that sift through. And look how nice that flour is starting to look. It is so nicely thin and fine instead of like this kind of clumped together flour. Because I know flour can sit for a long time. This really helps fluff it all back up. If you don't have a sifter, that is fine. Your cookies are gonna turn out just as fine. I have in here my baking soda, my baking powder, and my salt. We're gonna go ahead and sift that as well. And then we're gonna go ahead and set this to the side and we'll move on to our next step. Now, I'm gonna be using my KitchenAid. If you don't have a KitchenAid, that is perfectly fine. Use a hand mixer or even a whisk. That will work just as well. But I have it, and so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. To my stand mixer, we're gonna be adding butter. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but y'all, this is what makes it so good. These cookies are so good. We're gonna add all that in there. Now, I've let my butter sit out at room temperature for about 30 minutes, so it is a little softened. If you get your butter right out of the refrigerator, go ahead and microwave it for about 15 seconds because we do wanna have it a little bit softened before we start mixing it. I'm gonna also be adding all of our sugar and our vanilla. Go ahead and put our paddle on, and we're gonna go ahead and mix this for about 2 minutes until it is nice and fluffy. Okay guys, can y'all see how nice and fluffy this is looking right here? This is the consistency that you are looking for. It's nice, fluffy, and it's actually lightened up a little bit. Now we're gonna add our 2 eggs very slowly into the mixture. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on low, and we'll just let all of that incorporate. Now you don't wanna mix those eggs too much because we are not looking for a nice, fluffy cake type of cookie. We're looking for a nice, firm, dense cookie. So be sure not to overstir your eggs. Otherwise, you'll kind of get a cake-like consistency with your cookies. Okay, so now we're gonna slowly add that flour mixture back in. And I mean slowly. We're gonna put it on low speed. And we're just gonna let that kind of go in just very slowly, each time letting everything mix through. If you go too fast, all that flour is gonna go everywhere. Now don't be concerned if your dough is real thick because we are looking for a very thick dough. All right, so the next step now is sometimes the hardest, and that is choosing the color that you want your cookies. Now, I love this recipe. You could change up the food coloring for like different holidays. Like if it's 4th of July, you could do red and blue and leave it white. You could do pink or yellow for the spring. So, you know, it's endless the colors that you could do, or even do some fall colors or even some Christmas colors. So that's super fun. Today, we're gonna be making our cookies pink. So I just have some regular food dye coloring, and we're just gonna add that into the dough. Now, depending on how dark you want it, it's gonna depend on how many drops that we add into the dough. So let's see how much we need. Now, because this dough is pretty thick, you may have to like just kind of scrape down it a little bit just to make sure that everything gets nice and mixed in. And ooh, I'm loving this color. I think it's actually perfect. I just want to mix it up a little bit more, but I love it. The color is perfect, exactly what I was going for. Okay, look at that. Look how wonderful this is looking. Okay, so at this point, now what we want to do is set our oven at 350 degrees. Now you want to make sure that you do this after your dough has finished mixing because we do need to let that dough just rest a little bit. I always preheat my oven after the dough has finished. And make sure you go ahead and cover your dough up so that it doesn't dry out. I did want to say that this recipe does make like 30 or 40 cookies, so it is a pretty large recipe, and you could always cut it in half or even freeze some of the cookies if it's too much, or even you can even freeze that cookie dough for later. So just a little tip there. We've let the dough rested. Our oven is now preheated. Now what we're gonna do is I've got some cane sugar right here. Now this is different than your refined sugar. It is actually a little bit thicker in size. It's a little more coarse, and that is what you are looking for. If you don't have cane sugar, regular refined sugar is gonna be just fine. Just work with what you got. That's what I always say. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take one of my little scoopers right here, and we're gonna go ahead and scoop it out. You're gonna put this in your hand, your clean hands, and go ahead and roll that up. Okay, make it nice roll, and then we're gonna take that and roll it in the sugar. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and flatten that out with our hands. And we're gonna lay it down on our lined baking sheet. This is just parchment paper. And then you're gonna take a little bit of this sugar, a little bit extra sugar, and go ahead and put that right in the center, just like that. And just spread it around just a little bit, however you like it. And then we're just gonna go ahead and repeat this process until all of the cookie dough is done. So again, we're gonna roll it in our hands, roll it into the sugar, flatten it down with your hands, move it to the cookie sheet, and you wanna give yourself at least 2 inches. Add a little bit more sugar on top. Spread that around. Now it's probably gonna take you a few batches, so don't worry, it's just fine. Now, as soon as your oven is preheated, you're gonna go ahead and bake these for about 12 minutes. Now, it's gonna depend on your oven, how fast these cookies are gonna cook. All right, guys, now it's time for the taste test. Ooh, I'm so ready for this. They smell so good in the house. Look how perfect they came out. They are nice and just such a good size. Let's go ahead and taste this. I'm telling you guys, it is nice and like crunchy on the outside, but not too crunchy. Just a little bit of a crisp outside, and the inside is perfectly soft. It is so delicious. This would be so good with some milk or even some coffee. What a great dessert. I'm telling you, your family is gonna love this, and they are definitely gonna be asking for more. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. And if you'd like to see another recipe, click on the video link right here. And we'll see you guys on the next one.